Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanne. If you don't know, I am a pre-physician student going into my third year of college, and it is summertime. And because of that, I kind of wanted to make a video on how to make the most of your summer as a pre-PA student. So as a pre-PA student, you should know how many hoops we have to jump through in order to even be an eligible candidate to apply to PA school, whether it be rack up 2,000 patient care hours, shoot for a 300 on the GRE, volunteer, shadow, and the list goes on. And it is summertime, and I know that it's the perfect time. We're not in school. It's the perfect time to make the most out of the summer and kind of boost our applications and our resumes so that we can be competitive applicants for PA school. So I've come up with just a list of things in no particular order or no particular rank to make the most of your summer. So if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to leave a comment below and subscribe if you want to see more videos. I am going to try to make videos on school and academics, study life and organization, and my journey to PA school. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe for more videos. Okay, so we're gonna get right into the video. Okay, so remember, these are in no particular order. I'm just listing a bunch of things that I think would be great to do during the summer. So first on my list is to try to get a job in the clinical setting. So I know for many it is very difficult to get a job working directly with patients, and that's totally okay as long as you're working in a clinical setting, whether it be in an outpatient clinic or in the hospital, just trying to get your foot in the door. What I did was I actually worked for about 2 years delivering food to patients where I had no direct impact on their care or continuity of care, but I just delivered their breakfast, lunch, and dinner to them. And not only does this help to get your foot in the door, but this contributes to your healthcare hours. So as a pre-PA student, you can have patient care hours or healthcare hours. Healthcare hours has to do with hours that you accumulate inside a clinical setting where you're not directly impacting a patient's care. You could be doing administrative work like scheduling, filing, registering patients, delivering food trays, or even scribing. Patient care experience has to do with actually being hands-on with the patient, like being a CNA, EMT, nurse, a respiratory therapist, the list goes on. But even if you cannot right now get a certification or anything to contribute to patient care experience, you can still get healthcare experience. You can go on Google or Indeed, you can search up hospital jobs in your area and just try to get in the hospital. It's a great way to get your foot in the door. That is how I got my current PCE job, by working in food service in the hospital for about 2 years. I know right now we're in the midst of a pandemic, so I know it may be a little bit harder or easier to get a job depending on the type of job and the area that you're living in. I know for a certain period of time during this whole pandemic, they were actually hiring CNAs that had inactive licenses just because the demand for nursing assistants was so high because of the pandemic. In another sense, it's kind of harder because a lot of people aren't trying to hold interviews or go through orientation in the midst of a pandemic. So it really just depends. But again, going on Indeed, searching up jobs to get inside the hospital is an amazing way to spend your summer. I know it can be harder during school to kind of get a job because at the end of the day, GPA is very important, but during the summer, you are not in school, so it is the perfect time to try to get into the hospital. If the first two options that I propose kind of aren't really working, nobody's really calling you back for a job in a clinical setting, I would say try to volunteer. 9 times out of 10, they will accept volunteers because who doesn't want an extra set of hands working for free? Volunteer hours do count as healthcare hours, and sometimes they can act as patient care hours depending on what you're doing. You can volunteer and get your patient care hours, so don't rule it out. Just make sure to volunteer. I know nobody likes to work for free, but if you find something that you're passionate about and something you wouldn't mind doing for free, please go ahead and do it. Even if it's not in the clinic, even though it's not in the hospital, you can find somewhere that you're passionate about volunteering. But yes, you don't only have to volunteer in a hospital, you can volunteer anywhere. It's going to strengthen your application either way. So pertaining to academics, the next way that you can make the most out of your summer is to either take summer classes, or you can retake prerequisites that maybe you got a grade that you didn't like. We all have that grade or that class we wish that we could retake because maybe it's weighing our GPA down. There are certain courses that are notorious for being the weed out classes, such as organic chemistry, genetics, etc., etc. You've already been introduced to the topic, so retaking it at a faster pace should not be a super big issue unless you really super did not grasp anything the first time. You do not want to retake a class in the summer that you think that you will not get an A in. These are acceptable, but really shooting for an A after you've retaken a class is something that you really want. And that goes without saying. But also, if you're taking a class for the first time in summer, unless you know that you can actually dedicate a lot of your time to it, maybe you're not working or you're just super devoted and persistent with the course, then I would say go ahead and take it. Personally, I would never take organic chemistry in the summer, but I did take chemistry in the summer, chemistry 2 in the summer, and I got a B. I think if I had taken it during the semester, I would have gotten an A. So it's kind of a trade-off. Do you want to make the most of your summer and take the class and maybe struggle a bit more because it's accelerated and kind of risk getting maybe a B or a B minus or a B plus, something that it's not necessarily bad, but it's not great? Or do you want to take it during the semester where you might have more time? At the end of the day, you want to do what is best for you. I am not an advisor in any way. Please, I'm not an advisor. I'm just a pre-PA student. I'm just basically telling you what I think is right. So another thing you can do, which is actually what I'm doing, I am studying for the GRE. A lot of people actually take the GRE the month that they're going to apply to PA school, which is usually around April or May. And personally, that doesn't give me enough time to retake the GRE if I do not get a 300 or higher. So I'm taking it this summer. And because of that, I'm studying this summer. I have a bunch of free time on my hands. So I've taken a lot of time to go over vocabulary. GRE is split up into portions. There's a math portion, a verbal reasoning portion, reading comprehension. So a lot of things you can kind of cram in. If you're really good at math, that's something that you can kind of cram. But vocabulary, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of words that are on the GRE that you should know in context. Very hard words, kind of like the SAT words. Okay, not very hard, but you kind of have to know them. Learning words is not something that you can rush. I know people swear by Magoosh. Magoosh is a service. They provide free GRE vocabulary flashcards. I have the app. If you want to download the app, you should. It helps me so much. I also use Anki cards where I can kind of make my own flashcards. If you don't want to pay for Anki, you can use Quizlet. I think we've moved away from the physical flashcards. I don't think they're as portable and as mobile, but getting something on your phone would definitely help. You can also use Kaplan Prep. I use Manhattan and Kaplan Prep, and I also use Magoosh for flashcards. So the next way you can make the most out of your summer is shadowing, finding a PA to shadow. If you're like me, I am very, very shy. I don't know if I come across that way. Maybe this is all a facade, but I am super shy. I do not like asking for anything. I am the type of person who would rather suffer than ask, but you need shadowing hours. A lot of PA schools, they're like, we prefer if you have shadowing hours. If a PA school says they prefer or recommend something, please take that as it's required. They will say you don't have to have shadowing hours, but we prefer it. Get the hours, because you have to get those hours. You have to know what a PA does firsthand. You can go off of speculation or what Google says, but actually watching a PA work is way different than what you can see typed up online on some random website. The perfect way to find a PA to shadow, because let's face it, we do not know 100 PAs running around, and they're not as visible as doctors and nurses, in my opinion, especially if you do not work in the hospital or the clinic, is to go on LinkedIn. this is what I did, and I actually found a few PAs to shadow. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, that had to kind of slow down a little. I did not get to shadow them because of the whole pandemic and the bans that they put on shadowing. But what I did was I went to LinkedIn and I searched up PAC, and when you search that up, they have filters for people in your area or people at a certain hospital or a certain location, and you can find PAs in your area. I found 5 of them that I actually connected with. So when you find these PAs, you want to press connect, which basically is kind of like a friend request, and 9 times out of 10 they will accept that request. And whenever they accept the request, you can write them and say, hey, my name's so and so, I am looking to become a PA. I was wondering if you accept people to shadow. I would love to shadow you. Maybe give them a little backstory. Getting on LinkedIn will definitely be a great way to connect with a lot of PAs. That's what I did. That's what worked for me, and so I'm suggesting that you do the same. Another thing you can do to make the most out of your summer is to get a certification. Get a certification so you can get your PCE. Most quality PCE require you to get a certification in something, whether it be your EMT or your CNA or your nursing. Try to get your certification in something. Usually places have accelerated programs where you can get your CNA in like 4 weeks instead of 2 months. A lot of fire and rescue departments have accelerated summer programs where it'll be like a boot camp where you're going every single day for maybe 5 to 8 hours a day, and you're getting your EMT over the summer so that during the school year you can have your certification and you can continue to get your PCE. So what I did, actually, I got my CNA over winter break, and every day I would go to class, I would take the test, and eventually I got my CNA certification in February, and I ended up getting a job in March and starting in April. Try to get a certification in something. I swear most of the quality PCE comes from getting a certification. There are a bunch of things you can get your certification in, and I will leave them up on the screen. Just think of it as an investment. A lot of these certifications will cost money, whether it be $500 or $1,000 or $2,000. It is an investment, and most likely you will get the money back if you get a job. So another thing you can do to make the most of your summer is to start drafting your personal statement. The personal statement is by far the most important part of the application, so I've heard. So it is very important that you really convey the message that you want to through your personal statement so that the PA committee or whoever's reviewing your application can see you for who you are. This is not something that can be rushed from what I hear, so it is important to start writing as early as you can. Honestly, personal statements are very, 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 very important. So I have started working on that, getting them reviewed by someone. The PA platform, if you search that on Google, she does personal statement reviews. Of course, it costs money, but to me, it's worth it. I would do it. If you don't have the money to spend, which is totally okay, not everybody has the funds for it, you can use your English teacher or someone else. You want to get someone else to review the personal statement because we become blind to our own errors, and someone else can kind of see that better than you can. So another smaller thing that you can do, but is still really helpful, is to inform the teachers that you've built really good relationships with. Inform them that you're applying to PA school and that you would love to use them as a recommendation. You do not want to lose contact with your letter writers. Recommendation letters are also very, very, very important. So it's important if you have a teacher maybe that you took in your first year of college, second year of college, just to make sure to keep in contact with them and let them know far, far, far in advance that you want them to write you a letter for PA school. We all have our own things going on. They have families, they have lives, they have classes to teach. So also out of respect, just to inform them way in advance so they have it in their head. Also following up through the year, letting them know, hey, I'm going to be applying in 5 months, 3 months, 2 months, this month, that I kind of need that letter. That's also really important to do. So just starting the process with informing them is a great thing you can do to make the most out of your summer. So another thing while you have this free time that you can do that will make the application process a bit easier is researching PA schools. There are a lot of PA schools in the United States, and we kind of want to sift through and see the ones that we want to apply to. Kind of look at factors that are really important to you, and these factors might be location, tuition cost, how many months the program is, the PANCE pass rate. All of these things are really important, and there's hundreds of schools to look through. If you go on Google and you search up PA school spreadsheets, you can find a bunch of spreadsheets that have their cost, whether they require the GRE or not, and that can kind of help narrow down the list that you want to apply to. From what I've heard, you want to apply to 10 to 12 schools, and applying to more than 12 schools doesn't really improve your chances of getting in. So I would kind of keep it under 15 and kind of over 9, but then again, it's really up to you. Some people apply to one program and they get in. The last thing that I have on my list is to fill out personal information on CASPA beforehand. So if you go on CASPA, it's kind of like the Common App if you remember that from high school when you were applying to college. There are 4 sections. One of them is the personal information section where you can fill out, for example, your name, your address, classes you've taken, stuff like that is going to take up time when CASPA opens up. So filling out this information can save you a bit of time. Going through your transcripts and kind of copying the classes that you've taken also takes a lot of time. But if you do have free time, for example, during the summer, you can fill out your information so that when CASPA opens up, that's one less thing to worry about. I think that is it, honestly. I can't think of anything else right now, but I hope this really helps you kind of jump the gun on a lot of things that you could be doing at a later time and kind of doing it now. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this was helpful in any way, make sure to give it a thumbs up, make sure to comment below, and make sure to subscribe only if you want to. I'm not pressuring you. Yeah, okay, I will see you in the next video. Bye.